But it all began with a little dream. You see, I wanted to become a best-selling author. The challenge is I can't write. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic. Play me words with friends, you'll win every time. But I had a dream. I was turned down by 268 publishers, agents, and printers in a row. You know, it's been said that we are a reflection of the people we hang around the most, and our income, attitude, and our lifestyle is the average of the group. If you hang around champions, you become one too. Hey everyone, it's best-selling author, speaker, filmmaker, Greg S. Reid, right here in my home in San Diego, California. Now, for those of you who don't know my work, real simple, I've been published in 100 books, 45 different languages, and got a cool little star on the Walk of Fame. I've been voted Inc., Forbes, Entrepreneur's top speaker around the world, and my movie called Wishman is trending around the globe called Wishman. But it all began with a little dream. You see, I wanted to become a best-selling author. The challenge is I can't write. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic. Play me words with friends, you'll win every time. But I had a dream, and so I decided to do a little project called The Millionaire Mentor. Now, when you write a book, you do something called a query letter. It says who you are, what's your message, why are you an expert, who's going to read your book. Well, I sent out so many of these query letters, it would choke a horse. The fact of the matter is, I was turned down by 268 publishers, agents, and printers in a row. The 269th one said, we'll do your book, just change the title, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Again, I told you, I wasn't a great craftsman when it came down to writing. So I did something very important and got a ghostwriter who could take my words, craft them in a way that people would want to read it, and went on to become a global phenomenon. And now, here we are 100 projects later. Now, it would have been easy to quit after 50 rejections or 100 or 212 or 220. But I realize it's the people that have something called stickability. They're the ones that come out on top. Now, I know you're thinking to yourself, that can't be true. So I decided to share with you something I never do. These are all the rejection letters. This is the actual, the no's and whatnot that I got from all those various people. And I use it as fuel, as inspiration, because I realized I would never let another person or myself talk me out of what I knew to be true. Now, fast forward, that was the first project, and now they are on fire. The fact of the matter is, I work with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. You might know the Bible of Personal Development, Think and Grow Rich. Well, it was written about 100 years ago by an amazing guy named Napoleon Hill, but here's what you might not know. You see, he was an aspiring magazine reporter. He was only 23 years old. He's a young guy, and gained access to the richest cat of the world named Andrew Carnegie. And that guy was so wealthy to like be putting, Warren Buffett and Gates and, Bezos all together. I mean, this guy was a real big baller. And what happened is after 3 full days and 3 full nights, Carnegie says, I like you. And here's an opportunity. He said, work for me for free for 20 years, and I'll send you on a mission to meet all my friends. You'll interview them and write the first ever formula for success. Napoleon Hill reached in his pocket and said, work for free for what? He thought about it. He says, Mr. Carnegie, not only will I accept that mission, I'm going to complete the task. And Carnegie says, fine, you got yourself a job. Then Hill says, why are they going to talk to me? I'm just a kid. I'm nobody. I'm not connected. He says, don't worry about it. I'll write you a letter of recommendation. When people see it, they'll know I sent you. Give you all the time you want. Sat down with Edison, Einstein, the Fords, the Rockefellers, and wrote, again, the Bible of Personal Development, Think and Grow Rich. But here's where it gets kind of cool. You see, Carnegie was a stickler for action and gave his guest only 60 seconds to make up his mind to work for free for 20 years. And once Napoleon Hill agreed to it, Carnegie pulled out a stopwatch he began in his pocket. There was 31 seconds left. But gets really cool is that Carnegie made that same offer to work for free for 20 years and 1 minute on the clock to over 250 men before Napoleon Hill. He was the only person to say yes. Everyone else had a bad case of the one size. That means I'm going to take action once I get the big break. I'm going to take action once I get the big windfall. And the best time to take action is the moment, the second that it strikes you. Well, that was in 1908. Fast forward 100 years to 2008. The surviving family in Napoleon Hill and the foundation wrote the very same type letter that Carnegie, gifted to Hill and gave it to me. Can you believe it? I got like a Willy Wonka ticket to meet any human alive. And the first project I did was called 3 Feet from Gold. It's taken from the very first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, where a young aspiring gold miner named R.U. Darby goes out west. Now, he knows nothing about gold, by the way, and he starts digging and found a couple nuggets. He got excited and he went home and he told his family and friends, and they chipped in money to buy equipment to pull it out by the ore cart. The first, ore cart came out, and sure enough, it was filled with gold, right? So he starts doing the happy dance. Woohoo, he's rich. But then the gold ran out. They kept digging, but there's no more gold. They kept digging. The gold was gone. Defeated, Darby walks out of the mine and says, I quit, and sees a junk man walking by. Says, hey, buddy, give me $200. I'm going to sell you the mine, the equipment, the deed. I'm out of this business. I'm going back home to Maryland. Well, the junk man surveying the equipment realized it was worth thousands because the family chipped in all the money. Said, absolutely, here's $200. Darby goes home defeated, but the junk man, he goes to a local engineer and says, what happened? This guy hit gold and ran out. And the engineer starts laughing. He goes, that's mining 101. Everyone knows that gold runs in a straight line. It's called a gold vein. What Darby did is he came in one side, hit the gold, popped back into dirt. He says, go back to where they discovered treasure, go 3 feet the opposite way, you'll tap back into the vein. Well, not only did the junk man pull millions upon millions of dollars out, but that's what still fills Fort Knox today. And the moral is, how many times have we or someone we know quit one class short from a degree or sales or marketing? It's easy to quit, but it's the people that persevere and go that extra 3 feet, they're the ones that come out on top. And the greatest aha inspiration I had from this entire journey was a gentleman named John Schwartz, who created super string theory. He said, successful people seek counsel where failures listen to opinion. I go, what's the difference? He goes, well, opinion's based on ignorance, lack of knowledge, inexperience. Like maybe your family friends who've never done what you're about to venture upon. Counsel's based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship, people who paved the way. If I go to a family friend and say, hey, I'm going to write a best-selling book, they're going to try to protect me, keep me safe because they know I can't spell too good. Plus, they've never written a best-selling book. They'll talk me out of it. But if I go to Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul and sold 1 billion copies, he's going to say, Greg, sit down. Here's what you need to know, and give me counsel based on wisdom, knowledge, mentorship. John Short said, if we would spend our activity only seeking counsel and ignoring people's opinion, that's the day your life would change. Fast forward, been doing all these different projects, but just recently I did a book called Wealth Made Easy, where I sat down with people worth $100 million to $1 billion. And I kept asking them their one wealth hack. And one of my favorites was Tonino Lamborghini. By the way, I had an opportunity for, he and I went to India, to Mumbai and Pune a couple years ago and did commencement speeches all around the nation. And I asked him, I go, what do wealthy people do different than others? And he looked at me and said, that's easy. He goes, all you got to do is create a product, good, or service that people will save their money to happily hand it to you. I go, what do you mean? He goes, look, Greg. He goes, no one's going to save all their money to buy one of your books or to go to one of your seminars, but they're going to cash in their 401k to drive one of my vehicles. He goes, you're not going to spend $4,000 a night to live in your own apartment, but you'll cash in the family vacation fund to go to Anaheim, California, and give it to a mouse with big ears. He goes, if you could create a product, good, service, experience that people will save their money to happily hand it to you, you'll never run out of wealth. But I got to tell you, one of my greatest little takeaways is something that blew my mind. It's all about taking accountability and responsibility for every single thing that happens. In fact, a gentleman that I interviewed through this project, Mark Anthony Bates, taught me something called CPC. CPC, so important. Accountability and responsibility for things that happen. Stop blaming other people. It works like this. C, clues. P, pattern. C, choices. Now, think about it. If I go out on a first date and the woman's 20 minutes late, that's a clue. If I go on the second, third, fourth date, she's 20 minutes late, that forms a pattern. Now it's my C, choice, whether I deal with it, adjust it, break up with her, but it's not her fault. She's just late. Stop trying to change people. How many times have we seen someone with a bad reputation? They'll cheat your best friend. You'll do business with them thinking it'll be different. And then when things go awry, you're mad at that person. You saw the clue, you saw the pattern, but you also made the choice. It'd be like seeing a rattlesnake rattle, bite your kid's sister. You go to pet the snake, it bites you, and you're mad at the snake. Look, Suck it up. Start taking accountability and responsibility. CPC. Well, fast forward, Bob Proctor and I did a little book together a couple years ago called Thoughts Are Things. And we interviewed some amazing people. I mean, the gentleman who created Ugg boots to the person who was, interviewed for Schindler's List. And we realized that thoughts are really not things. It's thoughts backed by massive action become things. We sat down with the top neuroscientists from Harvard University and realized that we have 64,000 thoughts a day. And most of them are called ants, automatic negative thoughts. They're the reptilian part of your brain to protect you and keep you safe. So if thoughts were things and majority of them were negative, then everything should be chaos and drama around us, but it's not. It's only the thoughts that we take massive action become realities. If thoughts were things, then you'd be a multi-gadillionaire, because how many of those great ideas did you have in the shower? But by the time you brush your teeth, they're already down the drain, right? And then this one is my favorite, stickability. It's about the power to persevere. The first person I sat down with was a guy named Marty Cooper. Now, he invented the cellular phone. Everyone knows what a cell phone is. And I said, what does stickability mean to you? And he said, stickability has to be parallel with another word called flexibility. He says, if you're not willing to adapt and adjust, you'll get stuck. And he told a story about a spider monkey. He said, in the rainforest, a spider monkey so quick and nimble, you can't catch it, harpoon it, spear it, it's too wiry. But one hunter figured it out. He took a heavy log, drilled a tiny hole, dropped a peanut inside, and left it at the base of the jungle. The monkey would smell the nut, come down from the treetop, reach his hand in, grab a hold of the nut, and his fist becomes so big he can't pull it back out, become anchored to the log. Now, all he's got to do is let go, but he holds on with dear life because he thinks that nut is nutrition. It's saving him. All he's got to do is let go, but he holds on. The hunter comes by an hour later, captures the elusive spider monkey. Well, the big question, the moral of the story is, are you holding on to your own nut right now? But it could be in the form of that job or a deal or relationship or fear or guilt or remorse. And what we think is saving us could also be the thing that's leading to our own demise. Sometimes we have to have the courage and the fortitude to simply let go, to adjust and adapt so we can live to fight another day. And the single biggest thing that seems to be the stumbling block for all personal achievement comes down to one word: fear. Now, here's the big news flash. It is not the fear of success. It is not the fear of failure. It is not the fear of loss. You know what it is? It's the fear of the unknown, but the biggest one is the fear of judgment, criticism. We spend so much time worrying about what other people are thinking, and here's a news flash. They're not thinking about you. They're dealing with their own situation. There's a bumper sticker. It says, what would you do if you couldn't fail? Throw it away. Here's the question. What would you do the moment you stop worrying about what other people thought? Would you start that business? Would you ask that person out for a date? Would you write that book? Would you make a movie? The fact is, you've got greatness inside of you, just like Les Brown says. But it's time for us to get a little selfish. And what we want to do is fill our own cup first so we can feed the world with what flows over. The greatest way we can become the greatest example of ourselves is by becoming the greatest form and example of ourselves. Look, the reason that you're watching this right now is because you're different. The fact is, I guarantee you, you're the one person everything thinks a little strange because you're doing things and seeing things from a different perspective. You're ready to separate yourself from the 95% who just dream of success to that top 5% who actually achieve it. So when you want to say die and throw in the towel or things get tough, keep pushing forward. The fact of the matter is, Napoleon Hill said it best. Our greatest success will always come just one step beyond our greatest setback. So when you want to say, I can't go another step further, that's when you kick it in the most. You've got something special. You got something so great, the world is waiting to see what it is. Unveil itself. Don't quit. Don't surrender. You literally could be 3 feet from gold.
Tell us what you think about this video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.